There we go. There we go. How's everyone doing tonight? I pressed the wrong button, eh? Right, so if you're watching this on a repeat and you're thinking, where's the game? Hit videos or go onto the main channel and check out the video of the game. This is just going to be a Q&A. Alright, so who's here already? I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Robert Marriner-Dodds. To know me, I'm the lead designer on Carbon 2185, a Cyberpunk RPG, which is a tabletop role-playing game set in a dystopian San Francisco. It is a very, very good game. I'm way too big, so I'm going to sit back a bit. I just look massive on the screen, and I'm seeing myself on the screen. How is everyone tonight? Alright, so we had a good question. Hello Stony Spartan, how are you? We had a great question in the Discord from... Who was it from? Eraser TX in our Discord said, is animal uplifting a thing in 2185? Now, in case you didn't know, I'm glad to hear that, Stony. In case you didn't know, animal uplifting is when you make an animal smarter than it should be. Right, so like Planet of the Apes, where they make Caesar, the new Planet of the Apes, where they make Caesar a very, very smart dude. Is that a thing in 2185? No. No, it's not. Animals are no smarter than they are in today's world, and in fact most animals are very, very rare. And you won't find them. Well, you'll find synthetic animals everywhere. Arsham, happy birthday to your wife and daughter. Yes, it's my wife and daughter's birthday tomorrow, the 9th of February. Makes it very easy for me to remember. Now, to you guys, this music sounds like a good volume, right? To me, it's deafeningly loud, so I'm gonna turn it down on my end. Let me just fiddle with the sound levels there. Alright, so now it's reasonable. It's reasonable volume for me. If any of you guys got any questions, feel free to ask. One question we get a lot is it like Shadowrun? You know, no, it's not like Shadowrun. There's no fantasy. There's no magic. There's no dragons or portals and that sort of stuff. It's all humans. It's pure cyberpunk. It's like you'd expect to find in Blade Runner or Ghost in the Shell or one of those fantastic shows, or Altered Carbon. It's just cyberpunk. It's straight up cyberpunk. Obviously, a lot of the balance of D&D 5th edition, from which we built Carbon 2185, comes from the fantasy elements and the superhuman strength and the hit points and the magic. But so that's been a bit of a challenge. It's been rebalancing the rule set to take those things out. Yeah. Stony, that is a good question. My question, I would like to know how you are handling factions, like joining a rebel organization or being part of a thieves guild. We have factions, and we have gangs, and within each one, they kind of get like a little paragraph each, and it lists who they are, who they're allied with, who they're enemies with, and in which city districts they are active, and in what activities they partake. For example, the Sons of Chaos biker gang are active in districts 4, 5, and 3. They're enemies with the Snakehead Tog. They're allied with the 16K Triad. So, if you're in one of these factions, You get allies and you get enemies that go along with it, and people know that. People know that about you. It's hard to hide that you're in a faction. You know, what with facial recognition and all that technology everywhere, it's hard to hide who you are. We also have the street influence and corporate influence system, in which the more kind of jobs you do for a street faction, whether it's the Sons of Chaos or the Triad, the more your street influence goes up, and this allows you to sell stuff at better prices in the black market, get better augmentations on the black market and that sort of thing. But it's not going to improve, and that's going to improve across the board, right? Because people know you're someone who can get things done. Next question is from, can a person be a double agent within factions? Theoretically, yes, they could be a double agent. It would be tricky. You'd have to use some kind of disguise, but you could do it. Especially with a holographic disguise, you could do it. On that note, what kind of physical modifications are there for strength, speed, movement, etc., if any? Oh, well, there's no kind of like serums that pump you up and make you faster. If you want to run faster, you chop off your legs, you get yourself a new pair of legs. Jaeger legs, for example, make you run 5 feet around faster, make you jump higher. They make you be able to fall from a larger height without taking any damage. By the way, fall damage is a lot more serious in Carbon 2185 than it is in Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons. Because we predict that people are going to be falling off buildings and out of skyscrapers a lot more often, so we wanted to get that. We wanted to get that right. Yeah, so speed, place your legs. You want more strength, get new arms. Like Adam Jensen, he's got those arms where you can punch through a wall. You can do that in Carbon 2185. You can get a augmentation that allows you to punch through walls, but it's quite a high tier augmentation. You need the kind of the influence levels to unlock. Question: is there a limit on the number of body modifications you do in a game? From Scott Sterling. So thanks for the question, Scott. That is a good question. We have 7 body parts that you can get augmented. You can get your I'm not gonna list them all, but they're things like right arm, right leg, left leg, torso, skin, eyes, neural, that sort of stuff, right? So you can get all of these different ones. You can't have 2 eye augmentations. You can't have 2 left arm augmentations. The limit is really how many slots you have on your body. You can't have 2 torso modifications, for example, because your body just can't handle it. Yeah. Also, as you get higher tiers, you've got blood toxicity, which you need to keep a close eye on. Every time you install or remove a augmentation, that changes depending on the modifier on that augmentation. So the higher tier ones, you can't have too many of them because you will just die. You can have a lot of the low tier ones. Arshton says, what about eye augmentation? Yes, there are eye augmentations. Let me pull up the PDF and read a description of one for you guys. And I'm going to show you the PDF. You'll have to wait for that. I know you all got excited there. Right, what page are augmentations on? In just the playtest, we have so many pages of augmentations. I think we have 10 pages just, the initial playtest. One of the tier 1 augmentations you can go ahead and get yourself is tier 2 augmentation, Cat's Eyes. Cat's Eyes by Sal Cybernetic look precisely as they're named, like cat's eyes. These robotic eyes give you the ability to see in complete darkness as if it were dim light, up to a distance of 60 feet. It's similar to dark vision. You can also get zooming eyes, and that sort of stuff. Like Batal from Ghost in the Shell, you get those little eyes and zoom in, assess people. You can even get eyes that give you a +1 to hit with weaponry, that sort of stuff. That's very cool. Are there any rules for bio enhancements? No, bio enhancements. We're not quite at that tech level yet. People are experimenting on it. In 2185, we're still looking at physical, mechanical augmentations. First time caller, a Razor. Yes, I answered your question first, but you weren't tuned in yet. Are pet uplifts or augmentations common? So most animals are synthetic. They're synths because most animals are extinct due to environmental collapse. But are there uplifts? No, you can't make animals smarter than they are. There's no there's no Planet of the Apes stuff going on yet. Are augmentations common for animals? Yes. You'll often find gangsters with augmented dogs that want to attack you, that have extra strong bites or extra fast legs. Those things you really don't want to deal with. It's incredibly cruel to the animals. But it is what it is. Arshan says, if you're a synth, would you have to worry about blood toxicity? Yes. Synths are like replicants. They have biological bodies, although they're slightly enhanced. They have stuff like Kevlar in their tissues. They have stuff like Kevlar in their tissues to make them stronger. That they have some kind of, depending on what model of synth they are, they have different abilities. But no, they all still have the same kind of biology as humans. You gave me some ideas for a villain. Oh, there are so many great villains you can make in Carbon 2185. Believe me. Scott says, are there plans after release to construct standalone campaigns to sell, kind of like the pre-made adventures in D&D? Yes. In fact, I don't want to go into too specific details, but later on in this year, once this has been released and shipped to everyone, we're going back on Kickstarter with a campaign for Carbon 2185. So this will be another book. It will be a pre-made adventure or campaign or adventure path, whatever you want to call it. And you'll be able to play through Carbon 2185 levels 1 to 10 this adventure, and that's going to be very cool. So also you'll be able to buy Carbon 2185 as part of that campaign. If people miss out this time round, and they afterwards they're like, oh my god, I'd never even heard of this, they will get another chance later on in this year to get Carbon 2185 and to get the adventure path, which we're going to use the same artists and the same writers. It's going to look really, really cool. And yeah, we're just going to release as many of those as we can until people stop buying them. Miguel here, hanging around. Thanks for hanging around, Miguel. Thanks for answering so many questions on the Kickstarter page. We haven't got any questions open at the moment, so if anyone's got anything else, please let us know. Scott says, are there plans for apps, websites to supplement the RPG, kind of like D&D Beyond? It's expensive to do that. While Carbon's made a lot of money, it's done very, very well on Kickstarter, thanks to you guys. We don't really know if it's going to have the kind of support to do something like D&D Beyond, but we want to be able to get some Roll20 character sheets up and Fantasy Ground sheets running so that you can play using those, and also so that you can generate character sheets and make your characters on our website, which is www.dragontogames.com. We're going to add some kind of online supplements and tools on there, but nothing as big as D&D Beyond. Maybe in the future. We'll see how it goes. Will you be making a new Patreon a la Drag and Drop Adventures? Yes. So some of you know, some of you don't know. Before Carbon 2185, we just made Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition modules. We made the Drag and Drop Adventures 1, 2, and 3, which was a total of over 20 adventures for 5th edition. They're very good. Go and get them. You can get them on our website, again, www.dragontogames.com. So these adventures, you just they're designed to last 1 or 2 sessions. You just throw them into your campaign. They fit any campaign, any style. They're kind of like TV episodes, mini episodes of a TV show where it's just one thing is happening. Those are very cool. And after the dust settles for Carbon 2185, we will be on Patreon, where you can subscribe for, I think it'll be £5 a month, and you get a drag and drop adventure every single month, a new one with a map, artwork, and some great writing. So every month, you get a new adventure, which is very cool. And of course, the more Patreons we get, the more that expands. You know, if we start making X amount of money, suddenly it's 2 adventures for £5. You know, and 3 adventures and 4 adventures. So the more Patreons we get on there, the more each patron is going to get for their money, which I think is really cool. So next question. Oh, I'm really far behind. These are disappearing from my screen too quickly. Let me see if I can change that. I can see them in the chat, but I just want them to stay on the screen a little bit longer than they are. Alright, so that should be fixed now. Miguel says, are there space or Martian colonies in the Carbon world? Yes. Humans colonized Mars 100 or so years before 2185. I think 2130s. You have to check the website for exact dates. I can't tell you off the top of my head. But there was Musk Interplanetary colonized Mars. And then on one of their back trips, on one of their survey trips, they found a series of gates around the Earth. Each one of these gates, these portals, these wormholes led to another Earth-like planet. Each one surrounded by portals leading to more Earth-like planets, right? It was crazy. So all of these corporations, they started sending people out, and the very, very, very wealthy live off-world on these clean planets. So they're using Earth as a kind of dumping ground and for cheap labor and manufacturing. Imagine like the dirtiest, disregarded place in the world where all the manufacturing's done and no one cares about safety. That's Earth. That's all of Earth in 2185. We're making products for these off-world colonies. It's very expensive to get there. We don't go into that much in the core rulebook because we don't think anyone's ever going to get there. Maybe in the future. Class Dunce, that's a cool name, says, I associate Cyberpunk very heavily with noir detective stories. Will there be some kind of section or mechanics to support dealing mysteries more than standard 5e? It's something we're trying to play. It's something we're playing around with. It's something we're playing around with. Maybe if we can get it to work. Possibly. We've tried a few different systems and none of them felt organic, but we will see. Not really a question, but feel free to DM me. I'm a stack engineer with 7 years experience and would love to talk about making some apps to help out. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, send me an email or send me a message here on Twitch. Stoney says, Musk Interplanetary made huge strides. Yes, this is a quote from our history. In space exploration, and despite delays, successfully landing humans on Mars on March 15th, 2030. Arshan says, and yeah, Stoney, thank you very much. If there are off-world living, is there a black market for organic pets from other worlds? Now that's a good question, right? These Earth-like planets, perfectly clean, perfectly serene, no life at all, not even at the microscopic level. Why this is a mystery, right? And it's a mystery we hope to explore in future settings and in future source books. And you know, Carbon's been pretty popular, so maybe we'll get the chance to explore where all the life is on these other planets, why these wormholes were there. So that's kind of going a bit away from Cyberpunk, but I think it's very cool. Scott says, is it going to be a bit of a DM's guide on making homebrew content? The core rulebook, it's going to be kind of like the Pathfinder core rulebook, if you're familiar with it. So it has the player section, and then the GM section at the end, and then the adventure, and there's some stat blocks. So yeah, there is going to be some basic guides on how to generate encounters, how to homebrew monster stat blocks, and all that sort of stuff. So if you want to be like, oh, you know, what's going on here? How does this all work? Oh, I've accidentally made the chat too big. I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, so it's gonna be like it's gonna be pretty easy to make content for Carbon 2185, and you can share it online as long as you don't charge for it. If you want to charge for Carbon 2185 stuff, you need a license. But yeah, you can put it on Reddit and that sort of stuff. And then you can't go into too much detail about how many weapons will exist, how many different weapons will there be. That is a good question. So I took a look at Starfinder when that came out, and the first thing, to me, was how many weapons there were in that, and it completely overwhelmed me. And everyone I played with, who has kind of never played those types of games before, was completely overwhelmed by this. So we're trying to keep it down to 2 pages of weapons, which is more than 5th edition, but not ridiculously too many. Each one of these weapons as well is customizable. For a new player, it should be pretty easy. These are our different weapon categories, right? Melee, pistols, submachine guns, shotguns, assault rifles, sniper rifles, I have to read it off the screen, combat shotguns, heavy weapons, and grenades. These are your different proficiencies. You have 9 different things you can be proficient. Someone may be proficient in pistols and heavy weapons, but know nothing about sniper rifles and combat shotguns. We haven't grouped. We've kept different. We haven't grouped together weapons, right? Vibro blades. Yeah, there are vibro. There's vibro blades. There's phase shift weaponry, and there's mono-edged weaponry as well. People often kind of ignore the melee in Cyberpunk games, but you know, in Carbon 2185, you might be able to do just as much damage with a katana as a shotgun. You know, if you've got the right class for it. Will there be weapon modifications adding better sights, grips? Yes. Yes, there will. Is there areas in 2185 that has nature? Not really. Not really. You've seen Blade Runner 2049. That's pretty much it, right? So, yeah, there's no real nature. You know, the world is really been damaged by the environmental collapse. How deep will weapon modifications go? Not ridiculous. We're not going too ridiculous. We try and keep things as smooth and simple as possible. You know, they're gonna be customizable compared to most games, but they're not gonna be like, you're not gonna be able to change your rifling and that sort of stuff. I'd rather keep my distance with a rifle. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, a katana might be able to do as much damage as a rifle, but I know a lot of people would rather be 200 or 300 feet away than 5 feet from someone they're fighting. Yeah, I can't really show you this sort of stuff. It's something I haven't showed yet. Would you be able to have a sword arm? I'll get to that in a minute. Here's one weapon property: bio-locked. Any firearms manufactured after 2103 are bio-locked to their registered owner. Owning a firearm that is unlocked, with the exception of the 21st century pistol, is illegal. If you wish to have a weapon unlocked illegally, the street price is 100,000 won long. It is pricey to commit crimes in Carbon 2185. So a lot of the gangsters are actually kind of rocking submachine guns and pistols from the 21st century. 100-year-old weapons, because a bullet fired from a Glock, for example, is still going to hurt in 2185, right? And there's no way of tracing that, or at least it's a lot harder to trace than the weapons of 2185. What about VR immersion and VR depth? We've got some cool ideas for VR. We had some really unique ideas, or at least we thought they were unique, but we haven't actually gone for it. We wanted to do a campaign at first where players play as themselves in Carbon 2185, or their Cyberpunk characters, who are playing a VR fantasy game which uses D&D 5th edition rules, and if they die in the fantasy VR world, they die in the real world, and they have to kind of switch between the two. It was a really goofy idea we came up with, and we just couldn't make it work. We couldn't make it not goofy. RH White Ghost is now following. Thanks for following, dude. Think about augmentations. Will you be able to have a sword arm? Yes, it is one of our augmentations. I will read the description. Again, very much inspired by Deus Ex. We've been inspired a lot by video games. I studied video games design at university, so you see even here is a Mario, and from Watch Dogs here. So I'm a bit of a video game nerd as well as a tabletop nerd, but that one goes without saying. So Hidden Blade, to answer your question, Stain. Hidden Blade is a cybernetic forearm and hand manufactured by ZA Corp. It incorporates an extendable hidden blade. When hidden, this melee weapon can only be detected by a relevant check of 20 or higher. It cannot be removed from you without surgery. The blade can be retracted or extended as a bonus action, and while it's extended, you cannot use the hand of that arm for anything else. The blade is 3 feet long when extended, deals 1d8 points of slashing damage, and counts as a finesse weapon. It's Glock, Beretta, etc. around. We don't have any brand names. We don't have any brand names for possible legal issues, but we have. You're free to put them in your game. We have similar names. EMP grenades are a thing. Can they knock out cyberware temporarily or damage them permanently? EMP grenades are definitely a thing. You can't have, in my opinion, you can't have Cyberpunk without EMPs, right? Low-level EMP grenades, cheap EMP grenades, they're not going to knock out augmentations, but they'll take out lights and security systems and stuff like that, the cheap stuff. The more expensive the EMP, the more damage it's going to do. Most augmentations are unshielded. The lower tier augmentations are unshielded from anything except the basic EMPs. The higher tier augmentations are more and more shielded. So if you guys are up against an enemy who's much better kitted out than you guys, and that's just a load of low level augmentations. You got new eyes, new legs. He chucks a high level EMP at you guys. Suddenly your legs don't work and you're blind, for a round or two before they reboot, and that can be all it needs. All they need. Assassin's Creed style, more like Deus Ex style, where it kind of extends, kind of a combination. It comes either out or it bolts, swivels out. However you want to kind of imagine it, it's the right way. EMP nukes. Yeah, there are EMP nukes and that sort of thing, and global warfare is a thing of the past. It's mainly kind of small scale skirmishes between corps. There's no big world wars or anything like that. How are vehicle chases dealt with? We have rules for vehicles and their speed and how many people they can have and their damage and their armor class and that sort of stuff. Consciousness downloads to a synthetic body. No. We considered that, and in the first round of the playtest, we had it kind of altered carbon style, where you can back yourself up, you can transfer your mind from one body to another. but it didn't work. It took away some of the fear, right? Because people would back themselves up, they would die, and then they'll just get a new body. We got rid of that, and now we have permadeath. So if you die in Carbon 2185, you're dead. You have to make a new character. That's the end of you. There's nothing else you can do there. Can you mod vehicles? Is awesome. Yes, you can. Road Panda says we can play as synth. Yes, you can. You can play as synths. There are several different synth sub-origins, such as the Paramore sub-origin, which is a pleasure synth that has advantage on checks to charm or seduce people. And it gets bonuses to charisma and that sort of thing. Synths are fully alive. They are fully sentient, but they are considered property, and they're essentially slaves. Along the same lines, are there any hacker exploits that can take control of cyberware or cyberware connected directly to nervous system? Yeah, the cyberware is connected to your nervous system. You can't hack it. You can't hack someone's legs. That being said, you can hack someone's Neuralink, which everyone has installed at birth. It's kind of your brain is wired up, right? So this Neuralink is susceptible because this is connected to the internet, or the equivalent of the internet. And you can hack this, and this controls your whole body. So your whole body can become ghosted. It's called being ghosted when a hacker takes control of you, or a Neuralink virus takes control of you. You are still conscious and alive. You have no control over your own body. This technique can also be used to implant memories. In one of our playtests, hey Stoney, I appreciate the cheer, my man. 1,000 bits. You're the #1 cheerer now. #1. Awesome. Yeah, you can implant memories, right? So in one of our playtests, it was streamed, but the stream is now gone. One of the players, they encountered a hacker who hacked one of the players' memories into believing that this hacker was a father figure, a lifelong friend of the player, this old man. So he suddenly had all these memories of growing up with this guy and playing catch with him and going to cinema with him. And these were false memories. And so he found it very, very hard to fight this guy, or even let his allies fight this guy, because it was like, oh, this guy's like my father. So of course he was in a very, very difficult situation afterward, where he suddenly had all of these memories of this guy, which he knew was fake, because after the guy died he realized the memories were fake, right? Because he lost some control, but he still had those memories. This guy now, for the rest of his life, he had these memories of this guy being his father. He had the memory of him being shot down in front of him by his own allies, and then he knew those memories were fake. So he was a very, very conflicted character after that. That's just one of the things you can do in 2185. Road Panda says, can people detect synthetic humans? Yes. At a glance, it can be hard to tell, right? If someone's a synthetic human or a human. But yeah, you can tell. You can tell if someone is, and after talking to them for a minute or two. And there is huge discrimination. There is crazy discrimination. Synthetics don't have rights. They're considered property. They don't have any rights. They're not considered human, although they are. They really are. Love supporting things. Yeah, I really appreciate it, dude. You're the #1 cheerer. Look at that. Yeah, any more questions? Are there tiers of synth? No. No, there aren't. There aren't tiers of synths. But you have kind of AI, which you can't play as AI, but you have AI like a Joy from Blade Runner or C-3PO. So you have robots, which are called mechs. They call any kind of mechanical being a mech, not to be confused with a mecha, which also exists. Mechs are AI. They're rather advanced, but they're not perfect. You also have kind of holographic wives and husbands and companions, which you can't play as, but they do exist, and they have even less rights than a synth. Is there any way to run a Neuralink in offline mode? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Can't say yes or no. Is there any chance of anyone not having Neuralink implanted at birth and managing to grow up without one, as a Dark Soulsman 13? The whole world requires you to have a Neuralink, right? From opening doors, you use your Neuralink to open the door. Ordering food at a restaurant, you look at the menu, select it with your Neuralink. You pay for stuff using your implants, which are connected to your Neuralink. So without a Neuralink, you don't have access to money. You can't open doors. You can't use transport. You can't use any transport. You'd have a very, very hard time. You can't go to school without a Neuralink, and not going to school is capital punishmentable offense, right? So you don't go to education until you're 18. You get killed. Neuralinks are supplied at birth by the corporations who want people to have these Neuralinks, right? So it pairs with the basic heads-up display. So you get this heads-up display. Occasionally frequently feeds you adverts right in your eyes. And it's been with you your whole life, right? So these are super personal ads. They're there the whole time. Are all transactions online, or is there a hard currency? All transactions are online through Wanlongs, but you can store Wanlongs in physical chips that can be traded to people. But you can only buy stuff off of people with these chips. You can't order food or book taxis and stuff like that. Those are very good for trading stuff illegally. How would you describe social disparity between the rich and poor along the lines of Altered Carbon? Along the lines of Altered Carbon or like Elysium? Yeah, more like Altered Carbon. Elysium's really cool. But more like Altered Carbon. So there is some kind of connection, but mostly the rich people, they live in a different district, right? They're not gonna see the poor people, which is the majority of people, right? Like the huge majority of people are poor, and then above that, the rest have a very modest income. So most people are in debt. If you reach a certain level of debt, you become property of the corporation you owe the debt to, and you are taken away and made to work it off until you die. The ultimate AR hell. Yeah, it really is. Can any character detect an active Neuralink with something like a cell phone, or is it only a hacker skill? It is a hacker skill. You can't like track people with it. Is there a population control, meaning you can only have X amount, and if so, could you be a character that does not have a Neuralink because you were hidden away? There isn't population control. They kind of let people do what they want. There's freedom of movement control. Moving from city to city or country to country is prohibitively expensive on purpose. Good luck kind of getting across the sea, in the very, very dangerous waters of 2185 where environment's gone to hell. So they kind of keep people where they are. They keep people static. That wasn't always the case, but by 2185 everyone's very static. Could you have a Neuralink? Could theoretically, like I said, you could theoretically be a character that doesn't have a Neuralink. But the odds of actually reaching adulthood without a Neuralink is so minimal that the whole game system is based around the assumption that you do have one. Facebook targeted ads directed to your eyeballs. Yeah. Yeah, these Neuralinks, they're great for advertisers because it knows exactly what you want. It's been with you your whole life. It scans your brain, right? So it knows exactly what to show you to get you to buy stuff. Yeah. It also does. Eraser's right. You pretty much got it spot on. Certain stuff, right? So if you're under 18, and you're walking around town, and there's kind of nude women, or you go past a brothel's illegal, it will just be black. It'll be blocked out for you, so you won't be able to see that kind of sensitive material until you're old enough, or until you pay a certain amount of money. So there are these kind of teen hackers that are kind of hacking their own Neuralinks to unlock this filter, right, so they can look at women. Average population size along the lines of extreme overpopulation. Yeah. So I was in Hong Kong when I wrote the first draft of Carbon 2185, and if you look at the population density in Hong Kong, it's kind of like that, but everywhere. You know, it was crazy out there. During rush hour, you couldn't move through the streets. You had to move with, you have to move with the crowds. Privacy is not an option. You want to commit a crime, but your Neuralink will capture it and broadcast it. No, your Neuralink doesn't really actively monitor your crimes and behavior. Just kind of, it's an advertising tool. It's not for corporations don't really care if you're committing crimes, right? So they use Neuralinks to advertise rather than keeping the peace. That's the government's job. As memories can be implanted into a Neuralink, can we plug in skills or feats? Yes. We don't have feats. Augmentations and the class features and influence features take the place of feats, but you can learn new skills, improve your skills, get new proficiencies, and learn languages via paying, certain amounts of money to have these things put straight into your head. I think I'm all caught up. Let me see what I've got in the PDF, right? Anything interesting for you guys that I haven't shared with you yet. Back to what you said about getting your Neuralink hacked, says the Dark Swordsman. Is there a willpower thing to resist that? Yes, so if you take a look at the character sheet, which is in one of the updates, I don't know which one. You have 3 saving throws. You have Fortitude, Reflex, and Mind. So it is a Mind saving throw to avoid hacks and Neuralink hacks in particular. But they run on subscriptions and microtransactions. The whole world runs on subscriptions and microtransactions by 2185. What is your favorite part of the game? My favorite part of the game. Oh, that's really difficult. My personal favorite part. I love the setting. I love the setting. But for me, it is the combat. I really enjoy the combat in the game. I think it runs so quickly, especially compared to D&D or Pathfinder, right? Combat just flows so fast in Carbon 2185. You really don't know what's going to happen next, and you don't know if the players or the NPCs are going to survive. Everything's so high power, and there's so many dice flying all over the place, but it's also simple, right? You don't have to remember all these floating modifiers everywhere. Yeah, you actually you can pick a I can't remember what we called it in the final version. We find something relevant to languages there, and people speaking multiple languages. So everyone speaks English, right? but everyone gets one other language, and we have a list of the most common languages in San Francisco and the percentage of the population that speaks it fluently, right? Which is really, really cool. Hey, Razor, thanks for hosting. I appreciate that. So, for example, 80% of the people in English in San Francisco fluently speak English. 62% fluently speak Mandarin. 47% Spanish. 38 Arabic. Tagalog comes in at 26. Korean 22. Japanese 11. Cantonese 9. German 7. So we have a list on the. We have a kind of descending list of the most popular to least popular languages in the city. For example, one thing, Afrikaans, 6% of the people in San Francisco in 2185 fluent in Afrikaans, right? So if you meet someone, there's a 1d20 chance that they're going to speak Afrikaans. Pretty cool. Dark Souls, okay, so spoke of permadeath. Are there death saving throws? Yeah, we got death saving throws, same system as 5th edition. Dark Soulsman says, in regards to character death, is there a way to upload yourself to a new body? No. Covered that earlier. Q&A. There's no way to upload yourself to a new body. Once you're dead, and that's the end of it, right? Get a new character. It's a tough life. It's a real tough life in 2185. For combat, are there any effects that might happen as a result of different damage types? For example, does cold damage freeze up cyberware or slow you down? We tried something like that and it was just too clunky and it was just too much for new players to remember and get the hang of. So no, we got rid of that. It isn't way too easy to die at low levels, right? You don't want to go die over and over in campaigns. In our playtests, about 10% of people died in the first 3 levels, right? So it's not too easy to die if your GM doesn't put you up against high level enemies, right? If your GM knows what, it reads the rulebook and knows what to put you up against and what not to put you up against, you will survive the early levels. Late on the host, yeah. Don't worry about that, Eraser. I appreciate you hosting. Are there any new conditions, like hacked or electrocuted? Yes. Yes. That's all I'm saying there. It's called hacked. Is called ghosted, by the way. The services that are vegetable, bodyguard, investigator, hacker, resuscitation. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. It's you can hire bodyguards, and they're called minions, or I don't think we're going to use the term minion, but they're called minions at the moment. And they just kind of work for you for a set wage, which is in 2185, it's 201 longs a day for someone who's unskilled, or 400 one-longs a day, or 600 one-longs a day, so they know what they're doing, that sort of stuff. So you can hire people to help you out. Is there going to be a DM guide or a GM guide? Oh, sorry, I missed Dark Soulsman. Dark Soulsman says, is there a leaning towards ranged combat? Ranged combat and melee combat deals about the same amount of damage depending on your class features. So really it depends on what class you're on, what subclass you have. Depends whether you're going to be more ranged or melee. But I personally, I really like the melee. I think it's really cool running around with a katana, and a pistol. But yeah, it's ranged combat makes more sense in a world with guns. Is there going to be a GM guide, or is that covered in the core rulebook? It's covered in the core rulebook. We're going to have everything the GM needs to know and everything the player needs to know right in the core rulebook, as well as a simple kind of training adventure you play through to learn how to play the game and learn how to run the game. It's sort of like the 5th edition starter set, but obviously we can't match that level of design. That thing's a masterpiece. You mentioned qualities of gear earlier. Is there higher level gear locked behind street cred, higher prices? Yeah, it's locked behind influence levels, not class. Class levels are only your physical abilities, your kind of knowledge, and your abilities with weapons and your experience, right? It doesn't make sense that if you go to like level 5, suddenly you can buy new guns. It doesn't make any sense, to me at least. So that sort of thing is right behind your influence level, right? There are certain legal weapons and illegal weapons. Of course, no one's gonna sell you like a. If like you went outside, right? If I went outside right now on the street, you know, the gangsters and stuff around where I live, they don't know me because I'm not a criminal. Hey, Snow Popper, thanks for following. Yeah, they don't know me because I'm not a criminal. So if I ask them to sell me a submachine gun, they're not going to because they don't trust me. If I had a high street influence level, if people on the street knew who I was, they would be like, oh, this guy's cool, we can sell him this basic stuff, but we don't know if he's cool enough for the high level stuff. We don't know if we trust him enough, right? So the more kind of influence and trust you get, more higher tier stuff you can get, and the more people are going to pay you, right? So there's like a cap. If you're below a certain influence level for selling something on the black market, you're not going to get more than 100,000 won-lons for it, even if it's worth 5 million. Because these dudes, you're not actually going to be able to sell it if it's above what you're allowed to sell. Because again, these guys don't trust you, and you could be an undercover cop. Right, so you got to stash that in your safe house until you've got a high enough influence level to be able to sell it. How many influence levels are there? 20. There are 20 street influence levels and there are 20 corporate influence levels. They kind of mirror each other in the stuff they unlock. It's completely different routes, right? The street influence, you get more stuff on the black market. You get more kind of dodgy doctors who are willing to operate on you. Corporate tier, you get more invites to fancy parties, and you get to go to auction houses and these types of things like you see in Altered Carbon. Lower quality gear, is it easier to break, or is there a breaking concept? No, we don't have a concept on breaking gear. Too fiddly. Literally just found this 5 minutes ago looking for a Cyberpunk game, but want something beginner friendly for my group. How do you think the system would work for me? The system works a lot like Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I recommend you head over to the Kickstarter page. The link is in the description here, bit.ly/Carbon RPG. You can read all about it there. Very, very intuitive, very, very easy to learn and play the game. I like that you guys building gears, level purchasing to the lore instead of a game mechanic. Yeah, we've tried to root as many of the game mechanics into the world as possible. Obviously, some things you can't explain with lore, and you just got to accept, you know, this is a game. But where we can, we've added those in. Yes, comment on the Kickstarter over the weekend. I'm not going to be active online over the weekend. The social media accounts are still going to be posting automated posts. We got like a robot servants to help us with that. But I'm not going to be active because it's my wife and my daughter's birthday tomorrow, so I'm having the weekend off, which is actually my first day off. Tomorrow will be my first day off since like the 8th of January or something like that. So I'm getting pretty tired myself. As much as I love Carbon 2185, I need to sleep. The different types of ammo, yeah, you have incendiary ammo, you have standard ammo, you have GPS tracking ammo, you have hollow point ammo, everything like that. Is it more difficult to attain influence based on your class, or human versus synth, or your origin in that case? No, it's pretty even. You know, a synth can impress someone as much as a human can. Just because we didn't, again, this is a case of a game mechanic overruling the law, because we don't want people to be discouraged from picking a Badlander or a Gutterpunk or a synth. We want people to pick what they want to play, and we want to be able to play what they want to play without worrying about, oh, is this going to negatively? There's no negatives playing any particular class or origin. We try to keep things balanced. Oh, ball ammo, yeah. Yeah, there's all sorts of ammunition. Obviously, pistol ammo isn't going to fit in an assault rifle. Assault rifle ammo isn't going to fit in a sniper rifle. If you a 21st century ammo isn't going to fit in anything except a 21st century gun. Are there any things that are considered super illegal, like something not even touched? Oh yeah. There's a few things that are. I gotta start off by saying the law enforcement is kind of Judge Dredd style, right? So they shoot on sight. So if you're stealing from a shop, right, they're gonna shoot you. If you are robbing a bank, they're gonna shoot you. If you're conning someone, right, in a bar, if you're in a bar and you're lying to someone trying to sell them a bit of dodgy kit, they're gonna shoot you. They're gonna shoot you at everything. So while there are varying degrees of legality, police response is pretty much the same across the board. That is, shoot first, ask questions later. Learning social encounters, are there any special systems involving influence that might affect your social tests? Yes. Yeah, there are. As your influence kind of goes up, you reach certain checkpoints, get certain bonuses to dealing with people of that type. For instance, if you reach, let me check, influence level 10, for example, you get a +2 to persuasion and social checks when dealing with someone, a corporate person. Sorry, if you have corporate influence level 2. Everything is capital offense. Yes, everything is a capital offense. Like I said earlier, even not attending education is a capital offense. You will get put to death for it. Is there a way to read memories or download information from a corpse? Depends how fresh you got it. Yeah, it depends how fresh the corpse is. Yes, you can partially read people's memories from their corpse. If it's quick. If the body hasn't started to shut down stuff. You go for an experience system based on points or advanced battles. XP. It's based on XP. Your class level, which we call it in the game a class level, but kind of in development we call it the combat level. That's based on you get XP for social stuff. It's just kind of a guide, right? So like a difficult social encounter that you overcome might net you like 20 XP, right? That goes towards your class level, and that levels you up. It's completing jobs or hitting certain kind of inserting stuff will get you influence. Other fake ID says white ghost. Yeah. There are fake IDs, and to use those, it's very, very expensive to get your face and ID changed to a different name. It's cheaper. If you guys have seen the recent 2012 actually Total Recall, guy has a holographic thing around his neck that projects a different head, different face over his. Those are much cheaper. Those are the fake ID of choice. There's such a thing as re-education centers. Oh yeah, big time. Big time. Is XP only related to kill? Excuse me. I'm gonna call it last few questions, right? I'm gonna take 2 more questions after this one, and then I'm gonna call it a night because I'm getting a sore throat. Is XP only related to killing foes? No. Unlocking doors, committing skill challenges, and social encounters also net you XP, that will help you level up. Like talking your way out of a combat encounter, for example, gets you the same XP as killing everyone, because you've overcome the same obstacle, which is the enemies. And the final 2 questions: how does downtime work? Is there a downtime check? Yeah. yeah, there are downtime checks. You have jobs as well that you can have a side job, or rather, being a cyberpunk can be a side job. You can have a main job as well. Same way it works in 5th edition. This is used in milestone level system as well, just XP. Yeah, you can use it. You're free to use milestone. I don't use it. I use XP because I like XP. I know my players love XP. Yeah. Alright. How much does lifestyle cost? There is a lifestyle section in one of the Kickstarter updates. I think it was yesterday's update on the economy. Shows you the lifestyle cost for a non-player character. Lifestyle cost for player characters is slightly different. But not gonna deal with that. Not gonna get into that today. Thanks for the Q&A, says Ashlam and Stony. Thanks for asking questions. I was really worried I wouldn't have enough questions, but it seems you guys are just as hyped as I am. I'm really, really excited to have this kind of to get this game out to everyone. We're well on track to unlock London, right? To unlock London 2185, which is just which is very cool. It's very close to where I live. Actually, I live less than an hour from London by public transport. I've been there many times. Yeah, so London, we're on track to do that. We might lose a little bit of momentum over the weekend as I won't be sharing it and spamming it everywhere, but that's where you guys come in. If you guys keep sharing it on Twitter, on Reddit, on RPG forums like EM World and RPG Now, on Facebook, and even like emailing people, you know, going old school, right? I believe someone from our Discord actually, oh, you can't. This was crazy, right? He printed out a kind of poster like Back Carbon 2185. He put it on the notice board at his supermarket. That's really cool. I really appreciate that. That's some outside of the box thinking. Right, so I will see you guys on Monday. Yeah, drop your adventure hooks and stuff on the Kickstarter. There will be social media updates. They're all pre-written though, so don't think I'm ignoring your messages if I don't reply to them. They're a robot. Any synthetic and human marriages, you can't marry a synthetic because they're not human, because they don't count as human. The same way you can't marry a toaster. That's how the law kind of considers synthetics. You can't legally marry them, no. People do marry them. Illegally. Alright, peace out. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.